When I saw James watching it in work, I thought I'd lost my mind.
On this week's GTA 6 o'clock, GTA 6 wins 2 more awards.
And the winner is Grand Theft Auto 6 Trailer 2.
Dan Houser appears in more interviews. Now my notes I've written, what the heck is this? And Lester talks GTA 6. And he was asked, could we see him return? And he said, it's all here on this week's GTA 6 o'clock. Hello and welcome to episode 99 of GTA 6 o'clock, the world's most in-depth and best connected GTA 6 show. I am your host, James JJ Jarvis, and we only have 358 days to go, or about 51 weeks of GTA 6 o'clock, until the release of GTA 6. This week has seen the trailer for A Safe House in the Hills released, a GTA Online update which finally adds mansions to the game, and the continuation of the Rockstar Union discussion, with new claims that the Slack messages were quotes from internal emails about a new Slack policy. Plus, episode 100 of GTA 6 o'clock is next week, and we will be coming to you live, and in that show will be the man who is sitting next to me right now for episode 99, Dan Dawkins.
Hello. I look forward to being here to be 100 episodes old.
100 episodes old and live on the internet, which will be a thing that we haven't done since the GTA 5 o'clock days.
God, it's been a mere decade plus then.
Slightly different format for next week's show. We'll talk a bit more about that as we go through the episode. But first off, the mansions we mentioned at the top of the show. Before that DLC lands, there is a mini set of contact missions led by a new character, Valentina, who is likely the agent for the Pricks luxury real estate company. Another great naming thing there from Rockstar. Well done.
Dear me.
There's 3 missions which are available now, which are called New Listings Due Diligence, New Listings Fixes and Fittings, New Listings Hard Deadlines. If you complete all 3 of these by December the 7th, you will be granted gold tier rewards and discounts for mansion purchases in December. Those rewards are $2 million off all Pricks luxury real estate listings and a $1 million GTA dollar cash bonus, plus a black Rockstar varsity crew neck sweater. So there you go, Dan. Do all of those missions and you'll get a net sum of about $3 million off your mansion price, which we still don't know yet, but we were just talking about how much we think these might be, and it's going to be a big number. Prepare yourself for that.
Yeah, a really large number. Just a quick one on Pricks. I say that out loud and I actually shiver as I say it. Could it be pre?
It is
pre.
Yes, but
Grand. Yes. Anyway,
but pre-luxury real estate doesn't really work I don't think in the
no, and then it sounds
way.
Like you're. Well, I'm living a pre-luxury life, so.
Fine.
Whether I'll ever get post-luxury, we'll find out. So back to on the topic in hand, we don't know how much the mansions will be. We were discussing off air what's the current highest item you can buy in GTA Online, and that's probably somewhere between the Luxor Deluxe Jet, which is a cool $10 million, or the Aquarius Super Yacht, which is $8 million.
Only 8. Yeah.
Only 8. Now, actually, how do these prices anchor relative to real life? Actually, a slight distortion of real life, because obviously as someone used to dealing in exceedingly high-tech billionaire lifestyle valuations, like in real life, you would pay more probably for a plane than you would a property, broadly. Like I was just looking offline. You can buy in real life for a mere $1 to $2 million, like a used small plane. Now, a converted luxury aircraft carrier liner could be anywhere between 100 to 400 million. That's staggering, and that's like considerably more than you pay for almost any property in the world.
Yes.
Now, yachts in real life are even crazier. So yachts can be like almost billions, like floating. Yachts are like the biggest waste of money. You know, they're the ultimate flex. And you may have seen some reportage going around about Gabe Newell at Valve's yacht.
Yeah, I was just trying to look at how much that was.
Yeah, it's a fantabulous amount of money.
$100 million.
Yeah, so there we go, $100 million. And like, then you've got all your fees for keeping it in port, at sea, crewed. They're the ultimate money burn, I'm told. Because again, you know, me hiring a coracle is an expense.
Might even be 400 million. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So yachts are like, in real life, top of the expenditure scale. Jets probably behind, property below. So were GTA Online to follow that logic, the new, amazing mansions would be less than the Luxor jet and the super yacht. But I suspect, as we were talking about, they might not be, and there might be a distortion here because what Rockstar probably want is a new quasi unobtainable capitalist goal for players of GTA Online. So whilst we don't know what the price of these mansions is, I don't think it would be crazy to say that they might break above the $10 million mark. Quite how far, I don't know. And I don't know what your thoughts are with that, James.
Yeah, I mean, I agree they're going to be very expensive. I think the most expensive things, sort of property facility-wise, in the game at the moment range between 1.25 to 2, almost 3 million GTA dollars. If you're getting one of the facility properties and like properly doing it up, like the Land Act Reservoir is $2.9 million plus customizations a little bit more, but these are huge mansion luxury high-end properties that people have wanted for ages. And anyone who's played the game for, let's say, the last 5 years, let alone the last 13 years, has that kind of money, probably racking up into the almost billions by now.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be an unachievable amount for those people, but for people who want to come in and go, I will go back to it because I haven't played GTA Online for 3 years or whatever it is that they haven't played it for, it is going to feel like quite a high figure because you know, even with this £3 million extra, I'm thinking we're going around about 50 million for a mansion. Could be less, could be more like 25. But as we were talking, if you're getting a $2 million discount from doing these missions, plus a $1 million cash bonus, let's say the $2 million discount is a 10% discount, maybe 20% discount.
Yeah.
You're still up in the high tens of millions, you know, pushing 50, 60, 70 mil.
Yeah, that would be I mean, you know, who knows? We'll find out. But I can see it being somewhere between the sort of 10 to 20 million mark. I mean, maybe there's I don't know if there's like a baby mansion. Like that might be as cheap as 5 million, which would actually be a lot for the standard player.
Yeah.
But for the people who've been playing for years and years would be chump change, I guess. It'd be interesting to find out. I think it's interesting because of they're trying to find new ways to get people engaged with GTA Online. It's interesting in terms of how it anchors forward for GTA 6. Like once you've popped the cork on a giant mansion in online, will people then expect that mansion to be available from day one in GTA 6? We don't even know what they're doing with GTA Online, you know, and GTA 6. So there's lots of conversations to come. But yeah, I think it's fun. And I will say, the mansions do look really cool. Yeah. The Hillside Mansion, I did look at it and think, ooh, location. It's got it all.
That is a reference, or maybe not, to a UK-based property search show that has been going on for quite a long time.
But that itself is based on, it's all about location.
Yes, there you go. Well, we'll find out on December 9th when we expect the update to drop. A quick mention of the union situation that we mentioned at the top of the show then. And I think all we need to add here, on top of what we've already said, is whatever the outcome, it seems like this is going to be messier than potentially we first expected and is going to last months now. The IWGB has issued claims against Rockstar Games for unfairly dismissing staff for union activity. That is now a legal procedure, which is going to continue for a long time. Like, I think it's going to take months before this is resolved, and will probably just bubble away in the background while all of the evidence is gathered and all of the discussions are had. Maybe it settles before it gets to court. But let's see.
Yeah, I think if you want to find out more on this, go and check out the new People Make Games YouTube video where they've got selected quotes from the Slack group in question. I will add, it's from a perspective. And you can watch it and make up your own mind, but I think it presents one side of the argument. They did reach out to Rockstar, and within that video, Rockstar did reply and politely say, thank you for reaching out. And then in so many words said, we have nothing more to say other than the statements already issued. That I do not expect that position to change on Rockstar's side unless there's a resolution or some official sense of agreement. I think this is going to continue to rumble away in the background. It suits the ex-workers and people from that side of like the conversation to keep putting stuff out there to win public favour, which I say may or may not be whatever the right or wrong is of this situation. So it's difficult for us to comment beyond that. But if you want to see more, check out the People Make Games thing. Make up your own mind.
Yeah, and if you are listening and from that group and want to get in touch with us, please do reach out to us. Email us gtavoclock@gmail.com or get in touch on Twitter, gtavoclock. All right, on to something that we can all celebrate now, and GTA 6 has won 2 more awards in the run-up to release. It already won Most Wanted Game last year. This time at the Golden Joystick Awards, which were held last week in London, they have won Best Game Trailer and Most Wanted Game. Surprising, I would say, almost nobody. It's 100% public voted. Is this award show? It's also the award show that me and Dan are quite a big part of. But it's all fan voted. So does the most anticipated, biggest game in the world have a large community that wants it to win awards? Turns out, yes. But what is surprising is maybe the other results in those categories and what the difference was in the public vote. So Best Game Trailer, pretty universal. Grand Theft Auto 6 Trailer 2, 41.8% of the vote. Behind Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 official CGI Live a Life Medieval trailer, which was actually really good, that trailer. Well done. 26.7% of the vote. Battlefield 6 official live action launch trailer, 12.3% of the vote. Pretty big landslide for GTA 6 there. There are 6 titles in that category, so the percentages aren't going to add up to 100, but the other 3, obviously, the rest of the percentages goes to those other games. Most Wanted Game is perhaps the more interesting one. So voting for Most Wanted Game had closed before the most recent GTA 6 delay announcement. Would that have changed anything in the voting? I don't know. We will never know. But Grand Theft Auto 6 won this category with 18.03% of the vote, followed by The Witcher 4 with 16.68% of the vote. So less than 2% in it. And then Resident Evil Requiem, 8.1. So quite a long way behind those two. Now, there were 20 games in this category. So again, the percentages for those 3 aren't going to add up to 100, but all of the other games picked up a couple of percentages here and there, which would have rounded it out. But what do you think about that then, Dan? GTA 6 just beating The Witcher 4, which as far as I know doesn't have a release date, by about 2%.
I'd say, in many ways, this was an eyebrow-raising result. I think you would expect GTA 6 to, with the greatest respect to all the brilliant games in the Most Wanted category, to romp the category. Because it's Grand Theft Auto. It's a game that comes out once every 10 to 15 years. It's crazy. But as it turned out, the voting was incredibly close. As you said, I think if we'd have been running this vote the week after the delay, I bet you'd have had some spite voting where people were probably going, I'm angry. Now I'm going to vote for this game over GTA. My suspicion would be, and we'll never know because history doesn't replay twice, is that the vote might have been even closer. Now, another way to contextualize this is actually because of the nature of the games nominated for the Golden Joystick Awards this year, there was a number of titles that feel quite PC-centric. So games like Kingdom Come, Deliverance 2, arguably Hollow Knight Silksong, games like Peak, big games that are more PC platform facing, which I think then probably brought more of the fans of those games to the voting, who were more inclined to vote for what you might see as more traditionally PC centric titles. You will never know to what extent that is a factor, but I think that's possibly an undercurrent that has made the results a bit more PC facing than maybe traditional console facing. And then we also saw in the results maybe a slightly, not the enthusiasm for support for, say, Nintendo, as we might have seen in previous years, which again might suggest there's more of a PC than a trad console audience. That's a really difficult thing to pull apart and to know. But that would be my feeling with it. So, GTA, yes, everyone's super hyped for it, but it wasn't the emphatic runaway victory many predicted. And my feeling would be if we ran this a week later, I bet there'd have been some spite voting. And you never know, we might have had a shock.
Yeah.
As it turned out, we didn't. And I will say, being at the show, I especially enjoyed the loquacious and handsome host who awarded Rockstar Best Game Trailer, James.
Yeah, he was great. Loved all his work. Continue to be a super fan of him. It was me, guys. I did it. I was there.
And sadly, James hasn't brought in the golden joystick for Best Game Trailer with him in the office
I had to give it back.
Oh, has it gone away? It's gone back again. Is it? Oh, well.
Yeah, they wanted it back so we could send it off to Rockstar, which is a good point to note that they were not in the room. Last year, obviously, when they won Most Wanted Game, they were with us. But this year, I imagine for a varied number of reasons, they did not make the trip to the show. We didn't get an acceptance video, so I just took the trophy away and gave it back so we could post it off to Rockstar. But I will say, we were both in the room, Dad, when they won both of those awards.
Yeah.
There was a vibe in the room that maybe wasn't quite the same vibe as it was last year when they won Most Wanted Game. I would say slightly more subdued. Maybe it's, a number of reasons. They weren't there. There's no one going up, so you don't clap as much. But it did feel slightly less enthusiastic.
I would say polite applause bordering on neutral to... Frosty's the wrong word. But you know what I mean? There was a slight...
Yeah. And it had nothing to do with the host.
A lack of enthusiasm in the room, possibly guided by the host, possibly, but we'll never know. No. But I'd say, let's be clear, because they weren't there in person, I think immediately that anchors the level of reception you get. Another big game that wasn't there, for example, was Hollow Knight Silksong and Team Cherry, who got a slightly warmer round of applause than GTA, but, they've played their hand. And let's be clear, for every other major publisher in the world who did attend the Golden Joystick Awards, GTA, for them, is a thing they have to think about constantly and to navigate. So I understand where there might not be the warmth of applause for it. And I think none of it's I don't believe it's all pantomime, I think.
Yes.
I don't think it's a genuine, deep set, GTA, terrible. It's just... that's the social dynamics of the room, of the audience. But yeah, I did, like you said, I did feel like it was, it wasn't clapped to the hilltops.
Yeah, the whole room wasn't jumping up and down, whooping and hollowing, but they weren't doing that for most of the other awards. So take that what you will. And speaking of vibes, I always feel good vibes when a sweet, sweet deal arrives in a shop or an online store. And those deals get even better around Black Friday. Yes, it's over to the sponsorship.
Hello, producer Nathan here from GTA 6 O'Clock. Unlike Grand Theft Auto 6, Black Friday is here. No one is delaying that bad boy. As usual though, our sister sites GamesRadar.com and PCGamer.com are on the Black Friday and Cyber Monday stakeouts, scouring retailers so that you can score Didier Sacks deals on a Binko budget. So, if you're after new gaming gear to get Grand Theft Auto 6 ready, or if you just want to treat yourself or your crew to a care package ahead of your 460-second Diamond Casino heist, head over to PCGamer.com and GamesRadar.com for all the best deals. You can find direct links to those deals pages in the description down below, making it nice and easy for you. Well, that's me done now, so back to you, Dan and JJ, talking about, probably refueling, if I had to guess. Enjoy!
All right, well, let's move on to talk once again about Dan Houser and he has appeared on a Sunday morning UK TV show called Sunday Brunch. Now, my notes I've written, first of all, what the heck is this? So I think for all of our listeners who are maybe unfamiliar with Sunday Brunch, Dan, do you want to try and summarize what this show is?
It's a mainstream TV, easy watching, weekend magazine program as they know them, right? Hosted, and it used to be a bit ladsy. It was hosted by, it's a bit blokey in feel,
Yeah,
and used to be a bit like, hello, we're two slightly blokey blokes, but we're all sensitive and love cooking. So here's the chef, and also don't really love cars, and I think it's probably softened over the years to be a bit broader
because they've got older.
Yeah, and the hosts now, and if you to be a fan of the show, some of the hosts, you can map the age of the show in their hairlines. Where one of the guys was always bald, one of them definitely wasn't, but he now is. And they were joined by fellow bald person Dan Houser. So it felt like sort of three middle-aged men. It's a peculiar and quite soft show, I guess. It's a classic mainstream TV show with a slightly blokey leaning, which gives you maybe some justification for it featuring Dan Houser. But I will say, when I saw James watching it in work on his monitor, I thought I'd lost my mind, because I thought, oh my God, that James is watching a breakfast TV show and Dan Houser's on it. What? But yeah, that's Sunday Brunch.
Yeah, it's quite a strange setup in that the show lasts about 3 hours. It's on from like 9 a.m. till 12, like midday. And most of the time, the guests that they have are there for the whole show because, as Dan says, they do cooking. One of the hosts is a chef. So he like cooks stuff throughout the show, and then they all sit around a table awkwardly eating it going, oh, it's lovely. Thanks so much. Or, they make them a cocktail and they go, oh, this cocktail's got gin in it. Wow.
Yeah, and it's 11 minutes past 10 on a Sunday, and I'm enjoying a gin cocktail.
So I don't know if Dan Houser was there for all of it. I mean, I would be surprised. But he was there to push his new book, which is the hardback version of the audiobook that came out, A Better Paradise. The interview that he did was pretty light in content. There has been a couple of things that have been misquoted, or I'll say selectively quoted, around his comment about where gaming can go. So I think it's worth clarifying that. One of the hosts said, where can it go? That was literally what he said. They'd finished a sentence and then he went, where can it go? And Dan went, where can what go? And he went, gaming.
Yeah.
And then left it.
Where can it go?
Where can what go?
Gaming. Because we're going so fast, so quickly. Where can it go? Because AI's now joined the party. Where can it go?
It can go, with all things, it can either go somewhere really interesting or somewhere that gets overly focused on making money. And I think there's always that danger with any commercial art form that they get distracted by money. But I think there's still a big ceiling creatively to make these kind of living narrative experiences. And I think that was what we were always trying to do.
Which do you think will win out? Money?
I think they'll both win.
Okay.
I think there'll be two paths. I've already seen that in spaces in the games industry where they both kind of win.
So you've turned your hand to being an author now. You've written a novel. Tell us about this.
And then so you're like, well, that's a weird choice. The host is like, because we're going so far so quickly, where can it go? Because AI has now joined the party. Where can it go? The quote that has been taken there is just the bit where he's like, it can either go somewhere really interesting or somewhere that gets overly focused on making money. That's like the headline quote. But actually, it's in the middle of quite a lot of other exposition where he's being like, he's just talking about that's basically where most of media goes. Things happen, people get successful, and then they think, oh, actually, I could make a load of money from this. So anyway, that's cleared that bit up. As I say, he was pushing his book, A Better Paradise. And in a second, Dan, let me quote you how he described it, and you can see if there's any undertones in here. But before we get onto that, anything to talk about in his first description of where gaming is going to go?
No, I think like everything, it was slightly misspun on social media, with almost like a bit like Dan was blasting the commerciality of video games, where, like you say, what he did really say is we're at we're at a crossroads. We've always been on a crossroads where there's, a purely commercially led path, which is probably more what people would associate with the large top-down publishers, or a more creative path, and like this sort of, I guess, more indie gaming, more, and this has been the forever conversation. Like you say, James, it's been in films forever, it's been in music forever. What's popular, what sells versus what's arty and meaningful, discuss. What I thought was interesting was where Dan goes, he talks about the big ceiling creatively to make a living narrative experience, and I think that's what we were also trying to do. What's cute about that is he's aligning themselves with the high art argument whilst also not mentioning, and by the way, we were actually financially the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that's like just a deliberate bit of phrasing to go, the two should not be incompatible, or just the way he said it and people are reading too much into it. But, GTA, whether it's the exception that proved the rules, that's why we love it. It's a financial mega success story. It's also arguably one of the standard bearers of the entire video game media. So whether Dan was nodding to that, he's not part of that anymore, like not part of GTA. So I don't know. He's got no need to crow about it.
No, I guess what he is trying to build is a similar thing with Absurd Ventures, which it's the new company that he's working at, which is where this book has come from. It's also a digital audiobook version that you can listen to now, and as evidenced on Sunday Brunch, is now a hardback, and you can go and buy it in the shops. But when they were talking about it, he did say some things that made me think. So he was asked what the book was about, and he said it's a book about the AI revolution and making games, and some people that make some bad decisions. That's like the elevator pitch for the book. Now, I'm not going to read too much into that right now, but I think it all ties together. He was then asked about like the tech companies and ownership and all of that kind of stuff. And he said,
I think with all these technology companies, people get rich and powerful on a scale almost nobody's ever seen before. They're give or take the richest people who've ever lived, and in some ways the most powerful people who've ever lived in terms of influencing the world. And all of the companies start out the same way. We're here to make things better. We're here to help people. We're here to fix the world. And then they get this kind of Faustian moment where, but we're also going to get extremely rich and extremely powerful, and things get corrupted.
Now, if you want to read between the lines there, do you think there's any sense that this book might be a little bit about his previous time at the last employer?
I don't know. Maybe. I think I'd read it as more of a big tech parable.
And it was definitely that for the first bit. He's like, all of these rich, powerful people are basically controlling the world, and that might be bad.
Yeah, which is what, the story of the modern world, whether it's, Mark Zuckerberg once upon a time just wanted to create a way to connect people on his college campus through the Facebook. It's like a dating thing. And then before you know it, it's like implicated in swinging major elections and societal surveillance, right? Like it's a sinister heel turn, potentially. So whether he was getting at that, which is, say you could say the same for Elon Musk or for Google, there's all these, when anyone, absolute power corrupts absolutely, as people have always said. I think maybe that argument's for a different podcast. Is he hinting at what's happened at Rockstar? Don't know. I don't know.
No. Well, let me tell you a bit more about the book and see if that helps.
Yes.
They were then asked a little bit about, what's the inner workings of the book. And he says, it's a set of characters who are involved at a video game company that was very ambitious. They were trying to make this game to improve people's mental well-being. And they were doing a lot of work trying to develop an AI agent. And the AI agent acquired massive general intelligence, but it was made by two engineers who didn't like each other. So the AI is riddled with self-loathing and is simultaneously kind of infinitely intelligent and has absolutely no wisdom whatsoever. We are making a game set in the same world, but not exactly the same story. Any parodies to look at there? Any parable things that are going on?
Well, I mean, look, Rockstar was always credited to the two Hauser brothers, Dan and Sam, who were not the two engineers who didn't like each other necessarily, but they were two brothers who were instrumental in making Rockstar Games what it is today. Interesting sidebar here. which you may or may not believe. Did you see the Tez 2, the sort of famous GTA insider? He was talking about, he said he had intel on the real reason Dan Houser left Rockstar.
I did read this.
Yeah. Now, whether or not we believe this to be true, we can put to one side for a second. But like he basically was saying it was to do with the way Dan Houser wanted to make games. And like he really liked the model that was more like GTA 4, which was release the game and then release a series of like fairly semi-frequent episodes, which allowed for like more storytelling avenues. And then I guess the implication was that Sam Houser didn't want to do that. And somehow it's not even philosophical, like this disagreement about the business model led to the split. That, I don't know. I don't know if that rings true to me. That was what was said. And I only add it to this conversation because if there was, and there probably was some parting of the ways that led to what happened, we don't know exactly what it is. It's another contributing factor to that. Is it like in this book that the two didn't like each other and the AI's riddled with self-loathing and that's secretly GTA? I don't know. I don't know what you think.
Well, I mean, yeah, like you say, I think there were some similarities here that if you wanted to, you could try and spin a narrative to go, well, this is clearly, about the Housers and working at Rockstar together and having different approaches to game design and development and all of that kind of thing, if you wanted to. I'm not saying that's true or what Dan has done here. And maybe if you do end up reading the book, there was a lot more in it where you could, from past knowledge of how that company worked, go, oh, these two people are working at a video game company. That video game company, oh, it's based in the UK. It's making one of the most ambitious games in the world. Like, you could probably find things in there that relate or retrospectively relate to the story. And as we know, when Dan has done interviews before, when he was talking about writing GTA 4 and it being a lot darker and grittier because of what he was going through in his personal life, you write about your experiences and you take inspiration from things that you have lived. And maybe this book is a reflection of some of those experiences. Maybe it is just purely fiction. But until we have read that book cover to cover or listened to the audiobook, I think it's hard to say. But if any of you have done that, I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I did go on Goodreads to read reviews of the book. There were 3 reviews. One was a pre-release copy, which felt like a friend writes.
Yeah.
Now, it might not be, but it did seem slightly suspicious. It had mostly positive reviews, but I will add, not many reviews with not many qualitative comments. So if you have read it, if you think you can see some parallels between things that may or may not have happened in real life, do let us know.
And finally, someone else has been talking about GTA 6. This time, Lester, GTA 5's Lester. He's been talking about GTA 6 in an interview with The Escapist. This is Jay Clays, who was asked how he got the role, and much like a lot of the other actors we've heard from in the past, he said he had no idea what he was auditioning for. He said what was crazy was that I went for the audition and I had no idea what it was. Rockstar, as I'm sure you know, are very, very secretive. It's not like I went in going, I'm auditioning for Grand Theft Auto 5. I was given some lines, did this kind of crazy character, and they hired me. That was it. Even going to do the first day of work, I didn't really understand what we were doing. It didn't become apparent until much later exactly what it was, which is a thing that we've heard from Ned Luke, Stephen Ogg. Like, the whole cast was pretty much didn't really know what it was until the realization much later when somebody went, oh, you're working for Rockstar and you're doing the next Grand Theft Auto game. He was also asked that he was one of the few characters in GTA 5 that had knowledge of characters that we met in Liberty City and GTA 4. And he was asked, could we see him return? And he said, you never know, man. Maybe GTA 6 comes out and it's a big smash. And I'm sure it'll be a big smash. And then maybe there's more downloadable content where they bring back old Lester. Who the hell knows? I mean, I don't see why not. I'll put it that way. I mean, I don't think there's been a ton of overlap from one to the other character-wise, has there? You never know, man. You never know. Now, I don't know how you read into that, Dan, but that says to me, like, not that we were expecting it, but Lester is not going to be in GTA 6.
Yeah, that's my vibe. He sounds like someone who would really like it to be true, and you never know. But in reality, I think he does know. He's not in the point as well. On a sort of macro level, there's a character who's kind of like a replacement for Lester, already announced for GTA 6, which is Cal Hampton, who's the conspiracy theorist and probably the ITK guy who links you up with the weird and wonderful world of Leonida and beyond. Now, it's not to say you couldn't have two people like that in the world, but like this, they've clearly said Cal is the one we're putting forward publicly. Now, I'm going to mispronounce his name, Jay Clays. He has appeared in GTA DLC in the past, so it's not beyond the realm that, you know, he could come back for more work. But like you say, it feels like it's more him fishing for work, and the function of that character has already been taken by Cal.
Yeah, and I think the only reason that this is worth even asking in a conversation is that Lester left the GTA Online world to go somewhere else. And there was speculation that maybe that somewhere else is going to be Vice City, and he could pop up as a fringe character kind of thing. But reading this sounds like, I mean, you know, everything's smoke and mirrors, but this sounds like he hasn't actually done any recording work for 6, unless they pulled him in and said, this is for GTA Online, just read these lines, and then they eventually, you know, use those lines to put it in 6. You never know. But from his perspective, it sounds like he doesn't think he's in GTA 6. Maybe he will just pop up or be mentioned or something, but I don't think he's getting a full kind of speaking mocap role in that game yet. Possibly in as he mentions, DLC down the line, but as we've discovered with GTA 5, the possibilities of GTA 6 DLC, single player DLC, are maybe dwindling and it will all go online. Who knows? Maybe they'll change it up again. Whatever the case, you can read the rest of that interview on theescapist.com. It's actually a pretty good read. He delves into some of his TV and film roles as well, so go and check it out. And just before we wrap things up, Dan, it's worth talking about episode 100, which is now only 7 days away as you listen to this. The big exciting news is, for all of you listeners out there, episode 100 is going to be a live episode. It will not be pre-recorded like these ones are. We'll get all of the stuff that we normally have to edit out will be in that show. We are going to do it from our studio. We've got lots of special guests from the GTA 6 and Rockstar community who are going to join us during that show. And hopefully, and I watch Dan's face when I say this, a live phone-in opportunity for you viewers and listeners to submit questions to us live on air.
Yeah, I can't see anything going wrong, so good.
Absolutely nothing will go wrong. We are experts. It will be fine. That is all next Wednesday, December 3rd at 6 p.m. GMT, so exactly the same as a normal episode. It's just it will be us live in the studio with some special guests and hopefully some phone-in questions.
Yeah, that's 1 p.m. EST for our friends in New York, so watch us on your lunch hour.
Yes.
Please feel free to ask us a live question between your sandwich bites. And if you're on the West Coast USA, a couple of hours before. So just skip work, it's fine. And it's not legally binding, of course. But do skip work and join in and chat with us live next Wednesday.
Lots of special guests, as I said. Lots of people who you guys have been asking for in the comments are hopefully going to join us for little sections of that show. So please do subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. If you're listening on a podcast service, come on over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Put a comment below if you've got any thoughts on this week's episode or things that we should talk about on episode 100. You can email us gtavio@gmail.com. Get in touch on Twitter, gtavoclock. And the return this week of the GTA 6 o'clock newsletter will be with you this Friday. You can sign up by heading to gamesradar.com/newsletter. Going to be a big week this week, right, Dan?
Well, there's a lot to catch up on. Let's put it that way. Lots to recap. beyond the scope of what's in the show. Another bit of good news, if you want to sign up to the newsletter, yes, head to gamesradar.com/newsletter. You will also, were you to be reading a GTA story on Games Radar, you will now get prompted, want more GTA 6 news? And that's actually a secret sign up for the GTA 6 o'clock newsletter. So the answer is yes, you do want more GTA 6 news.
Always.
And you should then, I hope, get put forward to the GTA newsletter.
Yeah, we cannot guarantee that there will be actual GTA 6 news by you pressing that button, but we will bring you as much news as we can up until the point that we get some new content. So yes, that's all coming next week. Thank you very much for listening. And as I say, please join us next week for another live episode of GTA 6 o'clock.